Hello and welcome to our very exclusive edition of In Conversation With. Today we have with us Miss Sminu Jindal, who's not only an entrepreneur but leading by example when it comes to the world of specially abled persons and when it comes to the world of accessibility. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us and having an exclusive conversation with DD India.
Thank you so much for having me over.
Ma'am, let's begin with your journey. When we talk about accessibility, it all began with you. We know what happened when you were 11 years old, but that never, challenged you to stop you from doing anything great for the world of disability, or as we call it today, the specially able people. Take us through your journey, ma'am.
I was 11 years old when I met with a car accident. It, of course, changed my life, and it changed the life of my whole family when they realized that I would never be able to walk again because I have a spinal injury. As we all know, spine is such a delicate area. Once injured, it really doesn't heal ever. And so then one has to live with what one gets. And my family has been a big support for me. And they always told me that now what's happened has happened. You need to rethink your life, rebuild over it. So I'm very grateful for that. They took me to London to train me to live a different life. You know, when something life-changing like this happens, you have to learn everything from scratch. How you wear your shoe, how you wear your clothes, how to have a bath, how to be independent in terms of wheeling your wheelchair, go to school. You just do things differently after that. But at least they gave me the chance of learning how to do it again with proper training. So I'm so grateful for that.
And when we talk about your journey, your interest not only in the field of sports, but also, making accessibility a very common norm for the common people as well. What motivated you to do so?
During my school years, of course, I went to my school, I went out. My parents tried to make it as comfortable and normal as possible. I never came across a single another human being on a wheelchair ever in India. So I just thought it was only me. And now that things are comfortable for me, everything is good. But as life went by, I finished with my college. I still didn't meet anybody. I'm an SRCC alumni. And I've done my MBA Finance. I didn't meet any person in education journey. I didn't meet a single person on a wheelchair. But I always wanted to work, and I joined my father's business. I'm glad he gave me that opportunity to become an entrepreneur. And that's when, slowly the exposure starts. You start going out, meeting new people. I realized that accessibility is very limited in India and even in the world. And I also observed it wasn't just me being on a wheelchair. It's anybody who has any kind of limited mobility. So, like if you're getting an older person into picture, they have their mobility requirements and they're limited because of age, arthritis. There are so many, temporary disabilities that happen during the course of growing up. Like while playing, you dislocate a knee. It happens to even the strongest of players in the sports world. You have war veterans that come back injured after fighting for their country, trying to save its countrymen. They come back with a lost limb. They need accessibility. There are pregnant women who have difficult pregnancies. They would do a lot better with an accessible environment around them. So I realized accessibility is one thread that's needed by everybody. It's just that we don't feel it so deep inside. We don't know that the problem that we face on an everyday basis is called accessibility. We go ahead living our lives by saying, no, don't make any changes in the house because of me. I'm older now. I've seen the world. But hey, those days we didn't have the lifespan that we were talking about. Now we easily live in 80. It's too much of an adjustment after retirement for 20 years if we really don't do what we really want to. I feel environment around us in terms of transport and infrastructure is made by human beings.
And fast forwarding it to the current time where you are involved, you've been involved rather with Paris Paralympics, making it a grand success with your own contribution with all Swayam buses and all the accessibility modes that you made available for all the para athletes and especially the Indian contingent, and also the Khelo India Para Games, because India hosted the Khelo India Para Games here as well, and it's a flagship event of the Government of India. And when we talk about the Government of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is himself leading by an example by making so many initiatives and taking the lead when it comes to specially abled people, because he's been saying that we don't have to call them as differently abled, we have to call them specially abled. How do you connect with the vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, because you also have termed it as reduced mobility? What is your idea behind it and your connection with para athletes?
I think we've got a very, very visionary Prime Minister with his wonderful vision of accessible India. I think we're all benefiting because this gives us also an opportunity to talk about accessibility at all fronts. I completely connect to his vision because we all know how accessibility can change people's lives. Playing sports is an extremely important field, especially for the people with reduced mobility to have an opportunity to showcase their talent. And I think with Paris, with Tokyo, they've proven that they've done, if not better, but actually they have done better in terms of the other Olympic players that we've come across. So India has been, has been extremely good in terms of being able to represent all the specially able people in the Olympics and won medals. Even in Commonwealth Games, they've won medals for the country and did them proud.
When we talk about medals, we all know that India broke a record at the recently concluded Paris Paralympics, having already outnumbered the past figures as well. How far has India come, according to you, when we talk about accessibility, when we talk about infrastructure to all the para athletes of India?
With the sports, I think it's given as a platform to showcase how accessibility can actually change people's lives. That how these players can then concentrate on winning the game and not get worried about where do they go to the bathroom, how will they come to the cities to perform, so all that being taken care of in terms of accessible environments, it gives them a chance to represent their game on the world platform.
And when we talk about it, what is your definition of accessibility? Because we have a long way ahead when we talk about accessibility, when we talk about para athletes. And of course, we all know that you, in collaboration with Archaeological Survey of India, are in your plans to make all these archaeological sites also accessible. And you also won a national award for the same. So what is your definition of accessibility?
Accessibility has a very confusing meaning, Deepika, even in the dictionary. If you really look at it, what do you mean by accessibility? It's not a very clear one. So for me, accessibility is just being able to reach your destination with ease and safety. So once that definition gets very clear in people's head, it becomes far easier to understand how big is this goal. The goal is big not just for sports players, but for everyday human beings. We all need accessibility, like I just mentioned. As we grow older, we need accessibility. But we also have a right to live our life the way we choose to. We do not want things like brick and mortar decide where exactly and how exactly will I lead my life. And that's where human beings come into picture. As humans, we've got this dual responsibility of making it easier for fellow human beings.
The current government, the central government, is also planning to host, if the bid is approved, the 2036 Olympics and Paralympics. And we've also, documented and formally submitted the bid to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games as well. How ready are we when we talk about making India more accessible for not only the athletes, but also for the visitors who would be visiting India to watch these games?
I have been a very strong advocate of talking about accessibility and it impacting economy. So through sports, when you have a huge number of foreign visitors come to India to play a game, of course they come to the land of culture and beauty. Of course they will go out and they will visit the Taj Mahal. They would like to experience a little bit more of India. So accessibility will sweeten the whole deal. Accessibility is the salt in a food that if it's not there, you miss it. And if it's there, it just makes it tasty. Like that, if we are able to make accessible venues, the players will go back with a better experience. And with accessible transports, accessible monuments, country has a chance of earning better foreign exchange. It will create a better reputation in the world, and therefore Swayam is trying to link the sports, the ability of tourism with sports along with infrastructure, that it can make it really, really big if we create awareness and have proper communication tools to make India more accessible. And that would be one way of making India more accessible to Commonwealth Games as well as the Olympics. And it is going to be a wonderful thing that along with culture, along with so much to say as a country, we will get a chance to actually perform on the world stage and do the country proud. So this conference would help us understand how sports, tourism, infrastructure and ICT are linked in making us even a stronger economic power when we bring in these games.
You've raised a very important point. Now tourism and sports both are the soft powers of India, and especially India being the largest democracy across the world. When we talk about economy of India, we are already on the path of becoming the third largest economy by the year 2047. And this is also being called as the Amrit Kal of India, as we say, by the government of India, by the current government and under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. How do you see can Swayam play an important role in adding, in contributing to make India more developed through the soft powers?
This brings me to another campaign that our Honorable Prime Minister has started, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Through that, when we make things accessible around us, it's people with any kind of issues that they have with their mobility can actually go out and lead their lives. It's a misnomer when we say that elderly don't have money. Elderly don't feel safe when they travel. They don't want to fall down and break a bone. If we make things accessible, they've got the money. Their whole youth, they've earned money, paid taxes, done things for the country, that they do have the savings, but they need that kind of an extra effort. We need to make our infrastructure better for them to feel safe to travel. Every opportunity of a person leaving a home and going somewhere, doing anything for that matter, creates a chance of an economic opportunity. We fail to understand how big is this issue and how important it can be when everybody starts contributing towards the growth of an economy. People who are right now not feeling a part of an inclusive society currently because of their mobility issues are actually being held back at home. Just imagine all those people who we are talking about in terms of elderly, pregnant women, children with injuries, players, people going through some disease, temporary or permanent in their life. Of course, people with disability, war veterans, people who are facing natural calamities. The list is endless. All of us need accessibility. The thing is, whether do we want to really dig our well when we get thirsty, or do we start for it now? And that is the whole concept that I think our Prime Minister meant when he says that we need to look at accessible India. We need to look at Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. And of course, I do believe India will be a superpower, because today we are a young nation, but we are also going to make things easy as we grow older to become a very, very strong power by 2047.
Indeed. And when we talk about it, India is also aiming to become the global sporting powerhouse by, willing to host such great events also. But when we talk about Prime Minister Narendra Modi, when we talk about the development of the country, we also have to somewhere talk about women empowerment. Because 11 years of Nari Shakti is not just a celebration, but an example to showcase the entire world that where India stands when we talk about women empowerment. What are your views when we talk about women empowerment? You being an entrepreneur, you being a game changer when it comes to accessibility, and you are continuously thriving and making it possible for each and every citizen of the country to ensure that we are on the right path of making India a developed nation.
True. I do believe in the power of women because we all have heard the hand that rocks the cradle rules the nation. So I think it's extremely important, and I think India is waking up to the women empowerment issue. There has been a lot of development around this, and I do feel each and every human being can really contribute towards a nation. They say, see not what your nation does for you, but do see what you can do for your nation. So I'm trying to be the change that I want to see in my country.
So when we talk about women empowerment, when we talk about India's economical progress, especially in the past decade, India has really progressed a lot from the 5th largest economy to 4th, and now we are aiming to become the 3rd largest economy. What are the changes that you've yourself witnessed in the past 11 years?
I think it's for all of us to see how women are now participating in the current economy. It's not just limited to the regular, job opportunities that we were looking at from women. We're also looking at good representation in the boardroom, in the ministries. I see a lot of change for the last 11 years, even in terms of economic progress. Just look at the common man. Now we've got malls, we've got like everybody's on smartphones. Technology has improved leaps and bounds. We are looking at a very strong economic parameters, even from the point of view of business. Make in India is an amazing thing, and today we are talking about making India in defense, in steel, with the various turbulent times in the world in terms of duties, etc. I think Indian industry is doing extremely well, even when it comes to steel. Initiatives of the government to try and see if defense can be more make in India. We've done aerospace. What we've achieved in the last, especially the 3 years that have just gone by, has been phenomenal. We are living in very interesting times and very strong ones. How we are making an impression in the world by not looking like we can be bullied by big, strong nations. I think it's commendable how we've progressed in the last 11 years for sure.
And according to you, what more can be done when we talk about India's progress, especially in the field of para sports?
Para sports needs a lot of work right now because India is a huge country. So one cannot say that everybody is not working towards it. But still, we should look at railways being more accessible. It's a single most used and common platform for people from villages to come to cities to showcase their talents. We should look at accessible services, especially toilets. In rural India also, so that they can be accessible. People can go to the restroom with dignity.
How important it becomes when we talk about mental health and the support that not only the government is giving, but also organizations like Swayam, which are coming forward to make people to make things not only accessible, but also mentally healthy for them.
Mental health, I don't think I can stress enough how important it is. I think COVID has taught us that, how isolation feels when we are cooped up in rooms and houses. Just being able to get out there from your homes and meeting a friend physically, going out to work, going for education physically, is such an important aspect that COVID has taught us, that human being is a social animal. For them to be able to go out of your home and meet your friends is the most integral part of mental health. and therefore accessibility does make complete sense for it to be there, so every human being can chase their dreams.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us and making this interview a really memorable one for all the viewers who've joined us right now. That's it in this special edition of In Conversation With. We'll be right back, but news and updates continues here on TD India. So don't go anywhere. Keep watching TD India. Namaskar.